Today, I'm taking you to the darkest, most intriguing corner of time. When did humanity turn love into something that could be sold? So who was the world's first prostitute? But beware, this story is not just about the body, but also about power, gods, and temples. Yes, it sounds strange, but the first prostitute was actually a sacred woman. Let's see together how humanity's oldest sin was actually considered worship. 1. The first woman. The first goddess. Now imagine, 5,000 years ago, you are living in Mesopotamia, in what is now Iraq. Money was just beginning to emerge. But one thing was certain. The gods ruled the heart of society. They were everywhere. In the rain, the harvest, love, childbirth, and one of the most powerful, the goddess Inanna, symbol of love, fertility, and passion. Her temples were enormous, her statues ornate, her priestesses special. They don't just pray, they bring the goddess's love to the world. This is where sacred prostitution was born. In Mesopotamia, some women served the goddess in temples. These women used their bodies not for pleasure, but for a ritual dedicated to the god. Men would come to the temple wanting to unite with the goddess, but the goddess was not there. Instead, there was the priestess. By being with her, the man brought divine blessing into his own life. Yes, history's first prostitute was actually the goddess's messenger. 2. Sacred or sinful? Today, the word prostitute sounds dirty, but back then, this word meant respect. In Mesopotamia, these women were called naditu or kadishtu. It meant holy woman or dedicated to God. And they were not people who were ostracized by society, but respected. Imagine this. In the silence of the night, candles are burning in the stone courtyard of the temple. A man kneels before the golden statue of the goddess Inanna. Opposite him is a priestess. Their union is not a sin, but a ritual that establishes the balance of the universe, because that union symbolizes the fertility of the land and the proliferation of the people. So yes, prostitution first began in human history as worship. Isn't that incredible? An act that is now forbidden, considered dirty or immoral, was once a sacred commandment of the gods. 3. The first prostitute, the priestesses of Inanna. So, who was the first woman whose name we know? Archaeologists found the name Enheduanna on some clay tablets. This woman, who lived around 2300 BC, was not only a priestess, but also one of the world's first writers. She wrote poems and prayers to the goddess Inanna. In her lines, the female body was not a source of shame, but a sacred power. Enheduanna served as high priestess at the temple of the moon god Nana in the city of Ur. Her role was not just to pray, it was to unite the gods with humans. That is why Enheduanna is referred to by historians as the world's first sacred prostitute. But she was also one of the first poets, the first artists, and the first feminist voices. During that period, temple prostitutes participated in sacred ceremonies and also united with kings and priests in the name of the gods. Children born from these unions were sometimes called children of the gods. In other words, these women were the mother figures of society. 4. From sacredness to sin. Changing times. So, what happened next? Humanity changed. Religions multiplied. Moral codes became stricter. The female body, once considered sacred, gradually became a symbol of sin. Especially with the rise of monotheistic religions, temple prostitution gave way to moral prohibitions. Inanna was forgotten, replaced by the ideal of the chaste woman, and history declared these women sinful. Yet they were the first priestesses who carried the stories of the gods. They were witnesses to that era when humanity lived with love, desire, and sacredness all together. The origin of the word we now call prostitute is actually kadishatu, meaning sacred woman. Over time, its meaning was reversed. The priestess of the goddess became the street woman. But let us not forget, without them, humanity might never have discovered the power of love, the body, and faith. We asked, who was the world's first prostitute? We found the answer. She was not a sinner, but a messenger of a goddess. The priestesses of Inanna remind us, what we call sin in history was once worship. Perhaps humanity has never changed. Only the way we believe has changed. If you found this story interesting, share your thoughts in the comments. Do you think love is sacred, or is it sin? In the next episode, we'll go to the story of the first thief in history. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it.